cams and everything. All right.
Oh,
yes,
man.
I crushed one in the show.
So could you tell us a little bit about your character, maybe, just in your own words, and like just get a little
So
background?
she's a 12-year-old orphan with telekinesis, who's, you know, very troubled young girl, who's been kept in a facility with the actor Matthew Modine, but, you know, just a very complicated, troubled little girl. But I mean, that's all she's very just complicated. That's what I can say. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your experience kind of filming in Atlanta and how the city's been for you?
Yeah, it's been great. I've never been here before, so this is a great city to be in. It's very busy. I mean, we live right outside of it in around a place called Fayetteville.
Okay.
And so it's very quiet, very family orientated. I have a younger sister, so she like just likes that sort of environment. And when you go into Atlanta, you know, when I have dinner with Winona and Matthew, and we were sitting there, it's like so many people, and then I go back to Fayetteville, and it's like very mellow, chilled out. So, but it's been great here. We go to school trips, and we go to the aquarium. And I really want to go to the Civil Rights Museum. Me and Caleb really want to go, so we're learning about that in school at the moment. So yeah, but we love the city. It's great.
Cool.
How have you liked the production so far? How's the whole experience been?
Oh, it's been amazing. They're just such an amazing production office, such an amazing cast and crew. To work with them has just been an absolute pleasure. You know, they're just brilliant. Yeah. So.
What was your audition process like? How did you go about getting the part?
So my audition process it come out really off the blue, to be honest. I was in England, and, you know, I didn't get a lot of auditions there, because obviously I lived in LA before that. So when I came, you know, I did the first audition, very emotional audition. They said, you know, come back for a callback. I was like, okay. So I done another tape. They said, do you want to Skype with me? So I Skyped with amazing Carmen Cuba and the Duffers, and yeah, they were just like, so, you know, telling me about the character. Do you want to come to LA? It's like, I just got back from LA, but sure, you know. So I went there, and, you know, I'm standing in the room with them, and Ross Duffer's just come over to me and just zzz on my head, and I was like, what's that mean? You know, I had full-blown hair then. I was like, what's that? Well, you got to shave your head. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I was like, my mum's reaction was like, oh my, no. but yeah, it was an amazing audition process. It went very quickly, as I met Gaten Matarazzo and Finn, and then they just told me about, like, you know, the story, sort of the storyline, that Noah Schnapp was going to be in it, which, you know, I was like, I love Charlie Brown. I was like, oh my goodness. but yeah, and I was working with Finn in the audition, and I knew from then that me and Finn had such an amazing connection and chemistry that we just, you know, we knew that when we was doing it, we felt so strongly about, you know, the performance we gave. So I texted him a couple months later, did you get that show? Yeah, I got it. Me too. So yeah, it was an amazing audition process though. Yeah.
Did you have? I'm sorry I'm not trying to nag on or anything, but did you have like a specific scene that you had to do, and like did that turn out to be an integral scene in the show, or was it kind of?
No, they were dummy sides.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they were dummy sides, and
how they masked that or not.
And well, 11 had quite a lot of lines in that. So when I was reading it, I was like, okay. And then I actually got episode 1 and 2 and stuff, and I was reading it. So where's that scene I did in that audition? Well, they were dummy sides, so you don't have quite a lot of lines. It's just more actions and more emotion. I was like, okay, sounds good. But yeah, they were dummy sides.
Okay.
You should talk about that actually, Millie, about how you don't have a lot of lines. Your acting really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
and why she doesn't talk.
I find that her actions speak louder than words, and so the only person she feels very comfortable with talking to is Matthew Modine Papa and Mike and Joyce. So when she's talking to them, she feels comfortable. I find that she knows there's this there's this little thing in the show where, me and Mike always say, you promise, friends don't lie. And, and I find that if we do that together, then I find that 11 has that sort of knowledge that she knows that they're good people, they just only care about me. So I find that that's why she doesn't speak that much, but only to them people. With Dustin and Lucas, they're just stunned. They're like, she has magic powers. So that's funny though. Yeah.
How do you prepare for a part where you have to emphasize more on your stage presence than your actual dialogue?
Well, I've done a couple other projects where I've had a lot of, lines. And so when I came into this, I said, I find it more difficult than actually having any dialogue, because if I have dialogue, I'm more focused on the dialogue. With my actions, I have to cry sometimes, and even if I don't have to cry, I well up because she's so emotional. And so when there's this little scene where Mike and 11 nearly kiss, and so we're like this, and it's like she doesn't say anything. She's completely plain, but she doesn't. So for me to get into that sort of that role as 11, it's like. It's difficult to get into, but it's easy to get out of it, Mm-hmm. So when I go into it, it's like, okay, she's had a terrible life, she's coming into the real world, she's trying to be a kid from now, and so, it's not difficult for me to come out, but it's difficult for me to go in sometimes. Yeah.
Is there a certain episode that you're really excited for people to see in regards to your character?
Goodness. I am so excited. Let's see. I'm very excited, obviously, for episode 1, because that is the best. It's just like, you guys are going to freak out when you see it. And episode 8 is amazing, the finale. You guys are going to die. It's going to be so good, and everybody's going to be like, you're just on edge. You just want a season 2 so bad. Yeah.
How'd you feel about having to shave your head?
Oh, no.
Trust me,
I knew this. Oh, that's
yeah.
Okay. So I had full hair. It wasn't healthy, but it was hair. So when they said, okay, so you're gonna cut it now, I was like, okay. Sat in the chair. There was, one by one cutting it off. It's like, oh no, what have I done? But it was the best decision I've ever made. And they told me, we want you to sort of have that mind frame of Charlize Theron in Mad Max. And we did this sort of split screen of her going like this, and me going like that, and it was just like the resemblance. It was amazing. And so I thought, wow, that's an amazing sort of way to put it, And so my mother was like, I don't want you to do it. No, I don't want you to do it. Please don't do it. It's like, Mum, it's okay. Me and my dad was like, it's okay. It's just my hair. She's like, no, but we've grown it for 11 years. Yeah, I was like, but yeah, when it was gone, it's so much easier to handle. And that was the day where we had our first read-through, and I first ever met David Harbour and Natalie Dyer and Charlie Heaton. I've already met Winona at that point. We met her at the production office, and she came up to me. She's like, I was told we look exactly alike. I was like, really? She's like, exactly alike. I mean, don't we? And she's like this. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But she's yeah. So that was exciting though. Just the shaving of the head, and for the audience to be like, when I post stuff on Instagram, I was like, why haven't you got no hair? It's like. Episode 1. Yep.
Did the creators or directors give you any movies to watch in preparation for the role, or any performances to study, or as reference points or anything like that?
So, as I haven't told you this, but they told me to watch Poltergeist, Stand By Me, and The Goonies. And basically, if you put that in a blender, you get Stranger Things. But Stranger Things is, you see parts of The Goonies and Poltergeist, but it's not that, it's very independent. It's got that sort of way that, you resemble them movies, but it's not that. It's completely different, and just very independent, and an amazing concept. So, yeah. And they told me that the performance that they sort of wanted me to sort of resemble was E.T. and sort of that relationship between E.T. and the kids. And I thought that's very interesting. And, you know, it's just like, I don't know, makeup. Ross and me and Matt and Ross were like, you know, so basically you're going to be an alien. It's like, great, I'm hired. But, yeah, so, you know, just like that sort of personality and that friendship that he has with the kids.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Good.
I'm good.
Thanks,
Are you
Millie.
good?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you
you.
very
Great
much. It
meeting
was
you.
lovely meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Great. All right, I'll see you guys.